Welcome back to the Classic Soap Operas podcast. Today, we're heading back to January 30th, 1985, for the next episode in the Recap Archive series of Days of Our Lives. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the deep dive. You bring the sources, maybe articles, notes, research, whatever you've got.
And we dive right in, pulling out those key insights, the things you really need to know.
We're here to sort of cut through it all, make sense of it, so you walk away feeling like you really got a handle on the topic.
Exactly. Your personal guides through sometimes pretty complex stuff. We flag the big takeaways, maybe some surprising details too.
And today, wow, we have a really fascinating set of sources.
Yeah.
They give us this, incredibly focused look at something maybe a bit different for us.
Yeah. What have we got?
A single day, January 30th, 1985, in the fictional town of Salem, from the soap opera Days of Our Lives.
Ah, okay. So just one episode. That's quite the snapshot. These sources must be packed with, all the usual drama, intertwined lives, secrets brewing.
Totally. It's all in there. So our mission today, our deep dive, is to take these sources covering this one day, this one episode, and basically explain everything that went down for you.
Right, especially if you weren't watching back in 85. Untangle who's who, what's happening, why it matters.
Exactly. Figure out the essential plot points, the relationships, the conflicts from just that day. Okay, let's jump in.
All right. And the sources, they don't waste any time. They kick off with some pretty stark local news. A cocaine ring bust.
Yeah, straight into the crime element. The news mentions a guy named Barry Reed got arrested.
But, and this is key, his suspected accomplice, a Melissa Anderson, she's still missing.
So, boom. Fugitive on the loose right from the start.
Which takes us smoothly into the next scene the sources highlight. We meet a character named Mary who's hiding out at her friend Ivy's place.
And Mary's clearly stressed. Feels like a burden, mentions money problems. She's sick of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which, says it all.
Ivy's trying to be supportive, right? She notices Mary's a dancer.
Yeah, and she suggests, hey, maybe you could do that professionally. Make some money.
And then comes the reveal, tying it all together. The sources state Mary is Melissa Anderson.
Okay, so that's why she's hiding. That's why she's broke. She's the missing accomplice.
Exactly. And her dream of dancing professionally suddenly becomes this really central, maybe dangerous idea.
Wow, okay. And the drama just keeps rolling. Next, we see Melissa confronting Pete Jennings.
And the sources point out she snuck in through a back window, still evading the cops, clearly.
Their conversation sounds intense. Pete's relieved she's okay, but obviously worried. He asks about Barry Reed.
Melissa confirms Barry didn't hurt her physically, but he forced her to deliver drugs, even after she knew what was going on.
And it's not just about the present danger, is it? The sources mention some history between them.
Oh yeah, layers of it. Melissa tells Pete she finally believes him now about some old stuff, a stolen car incident, and also that he didn't sleep with his own mother.
Okay, so there's past betrayal, mistrust, stuff they're trying to move past, even in this crisis.
And that complicated history sets the stage for her big decision. She tells Pete she's thought about it and she needs to move on.
Her plan: New York City. Become a professional dancer. Study.
Which sounds great, except for the whole, being wanted by the police thing.
Right. Pete points that out. He says, look, the only way out is to go to the cops. Makes sense.
But Melissa, she refuses flat out. She's convinced they won't believe her story. She feels trapped, like she was forced to keep going too long.
And this is where it gets really, really juicy. She plays her ace card.
What's that?
The sources say she reminds Pete that she didn't go to the police back when he shot her father.
Whoa, okay. That's heavy.
Yeah. She basically tells him, you owe me one, using his past secret to get what she needs now.
Which is what? Bus fare.
Bus fare for New York.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete, despite arguing with her, despite knowing the danger, he caves. The sources say he gives her $90 in his coat.
Man. And their goodbye must have been something.
Heartbreaking, apparently. Pete offers to go with her. Like, let me protect you, let me help you.
But she turns him down.
Yep. Says they were special, but now they're just two different people. Insists on going to the bus station alone, right then.
Even though he's clearly worried sick and still has feelings for her.
She just leaves. Tells him not to worry. Maybe she'll call someone named Maggie. Maybe she'll come back someday. It's a huge gamble. Fugitive, dancer dream, New York, hardly any cash.
Talk about high stakes. Okay, so while all that's happening, the sources shift focus. Where do we go next?
Across town to the Body Connection gym. It's owned by a guy named Chris Kusacek.
And we find Hope Williams there, training like crazy.
Yeah, the sources describe her going all out, obstacle courses, ice skating. She's training for the police academy.
Pushing herself hard. And she uses Chris's hot tub afterward.
Right, for sore muscles, neck, shoulders, back. Chris seems like a good guy, supportive, lets her use the place after hours.
Enter Bo Brady. He shows up at the gym.
And the sources say he starts helping Hope, giving her a back massage.
Which is, naturally, the exact moment Larry Welch decides to wander in. You can always count on Larry to stir the pot.
Oh, absolutely. He immediately starts making comments like, oh, look at you two, like a couple.
And he brings up his annulment from Hope. Why?
Just to needle them, seems like. Sources say he specifically mentions the grounds they never slept together and calls it cleaner than divorce. Just poking.
Ugh. Bo tells him to get lost, right?
Yeah, but Larry just shifts gears.
Yeah.
Makes snide remarks about Hope walking all over Bo.
And then compliments her attractiveness while mentioning seeing her in the shower. Seriously.
Yep. Classic Larry. Totally inappropriate boundary pusher.
And the fun doesn't stop there because Megan Hathaway arrives. Hope's rival.
Right. Sources show instant tension. They're both in the hot tub, trading these, thinly veiled insults. Megan's jealousy over Bo is super obvious.
Then Larry jumps on that too?
Of course. Teases Megan about seeing Bo massaging Hope. The sources say Megan gets really angry, calls Larry a fool.
So after all that drama in the hot tub...
Megan and Hope both leave, separately. Lots of bad blood there.
But the gym stays busy. Pete Jennings shows up again.
Yeah, after Hope gets out of the hot tub, Pete talks to her. It's kind of a surprising conversation. Well, Pete asks if Megan or Bo bother her. Hope says not anymore. Then Pete asks, point blank, so when are you and Bo getting back together?
How does Hope handle that?
Perfect deflection. She immediately flicks it, asking Pete when he and Melissa getting back together. Shuts down the Bo talk instantly.
Smooth. But then things get interesting between them.
Yeah, unexpectedly. Hope tells Pete she thinks he's actually okay, even though his friend Speed is suing her grandfather.
That's generous.
She gives him some perspective, like, you're not responsible for your friend's actions. And she adds she heard Speed's lawsuit isn't very strong anyway.
And Pete opens up a bit, too.
He does. He tells Hope his recent experiences, he mentions, understanding survival, going hungry, have changed his outlook. Kind of like how the police academy is changing her. He feels like he's starting to get where people like Speed and his sister are coming from.
Wow. A real moment of connection, then.
Totally. The sources say they shake hands. There's this new respect. Hope even arranges for Pete to use the hot tub later, using her connection with Chris. A friendship seems to be forming.
Okay, lots happen at the gym. Where next?
Sources take us to a restaurant or bar.
Who's there?
Don Craig is with Tom Horton. Tom's waiting for Bo.
And Kimberly Brady's at the bar, too.
Yep. And Don starts, playfully quizzing her about her dating life. Almost like a lawyer cross-examining her, but charmingly.
Okay. What does he ask?
He mentions she's been seen with a Leopold Bronski, calls him world-renowned, says people will talk about Bronski's excellent taste, teasing her, but also fiffing.
Does he get more direct?
Oh, yeah. Asks if Bronski, or maybe Shane Donovan, who apparently called her, have a claim on her. And if not, Don says he should be considered in the running.
Bold move. How does Kimberly respond?
She says she's in a holding pattern, non-committal.
And didn't you say Shane Donovan called her?
Yeah, the sources actually show her taking a call from Shane right there while Don is talking to her. Adds another layer, right?
Definitely. Okay, so while that's unfolding.
Bo finally arrives at the bar and immediately pulls Kimberly aside. Cuts Don off mid-sentence. Don was trying to ask about some custody case.
So Bo needs Kimberly for something urgent.
Looks like it. He's intense. He asks her about Leopold Bronski, but it's not playful like Don's questioning. It's serious.
What does he say?
He tells her she has to stay away from Bronski. Says the guy is dangerous, and it's somehow connected to Roman.
Roman, his brother, the cop. Okay, that sounds serious.
Kimberly pushes back a little, says she likes Leopold. But Bo insists. He says they have to make sacrifices and warns her she really doesn't want to know the consequences if she ignores him.
Does she agree?
Yeah, she seems shaken. Tells him, got it. They'll stay away. So some kind of hidden danger involving Bronski and the Brady family.
More Salem secrets. Okay, where else do the sources take us on this pack day?
Back near the body connection, maybe Chris's place upstairs. We find Gwen Davies there. She was exercising earlier. The sources noted her half leotard.
And guess who finds her?
Oh, let me guess. Larry Welch.
Bingo. He zeroes in on Gwen, tries to be all romantic, make up after whatever hell they've been through, says he loves her, wants to show it publicly.
How did Gwen react?
Not well. She rejects him, especially his public displays calls it pawing her.
And there's some other tension, too, right?
Yeah.
About a legal case.
Yeah, Larry seems mad she's not helping him go after Tom Horton harder in some case.
But Gwen explains the legal reality.
Right. She lays it out. Dr. Horton gave morphine to a guy who had an allergy and died. But the guy wasn't wearing a medical alert bracelet. So as a former DA, Gwen knows there's no proof of malpractice. No case.
But Larry doesn't care about the facts.
Not at all. His view is totally cynical. He says public opinion wins cases, not evidence. And he basically implies he can use his newspaper job to plant stories, smear Horton, and manipulate people.
Oof. So Gwen is having none of that.
Absolutely not. She calls his methods not her style, insists there's no case, and tells him she's tired and wants him to leave her alone. Shows her integrity compared to his, well, lack of it.
Okay, so let's circle back. Remember Melissa Mary hiding out at Ivy's at the start?
Yeah, the fugitive dancer.
Well, the sources bring us back there. Ivy's all excited, telling where Mary presumably was, that PJ asked her out.
PJ. Okay, but Mary's not there.
Nope. Ivy discovers Mary Melissa is gone. Just vanished. Underscores how suddenly she left after that scene with Pete.
And then PJ shows up.
Yeah, later that night after midnight, he's late, apologizes, says something really important came up.
And here's the connection, right?
Exactly. Ivy's sad, says she lost her best friend tonight, meaning Mary Melissa, and PJ says that's funny because he thinks he lost his best friend tonight too.
Meaning Melissa. So Key J is Pete Jennings.
It seems certain.
Yeah.
Adds so much weight to that earlier goodbye scene. They both lost her in different ways that night.
Wow. So what do Pete and Ivy do?
They're both kind of down, so they ditch going out.
Yeah.
Decide to just stay in, watch a movie, make popcorn, finding comfort in shared sadness.
That's actually quite sweet in a sad way. Okay, any other loose ends from the day?
A couple more scenes. We revisit Gwen Davies, but now she's at Chris Kosachek's place, probably his apartment above the gym.
And how's she doing after the Larry confrontation?
Not great. Sources say she's drinking, depressed. Chris is closing up the gym, but he stays with her. She doesn't want to go home, says it's not sweet anymore with Larry there.
Chris is a good friend, right? But maybe tough.
Yeah, exactly. He offers coffee, a listening ear, but he's also blunt. Tells her he doesn't really want to hear about her fight with Larry. Uses that saying, you make your bed, you sleep in it.
Ouch.
But honest, very. He acknowledges she went into living with Larry, both eyes open. But he also reassures her he hates seeing her unhappy.
And Gwen appreciates that honesty.
She does. Calls him a very good friend because of it. So they just share coffee, watch the fire. A quiet moment of real friendship.
Nice counterpoint to all the drama. And the last main thread, Beau and Megan.
Right. The sources take us to Megan Hathaway's home. Beau arrives late. He brought a toy for Zachary, his son, we assume.
Okay, patching things up after the gym awkwardness.
Seems like it. Beau apologizes for leaving abruptly. Megan's forgiving. They get nostalgic, talking about so many good times before he came back to Salem.
Any specific memories mentioned?
Yeah, Beau remembers playing skee ball. Megan remembers he likes hot chocolate with whipped cream, maybe with the rum now. It's familiar, comfortable territory for them.
And then it gets a bit deeper.
Yeah, Beau apologizes more generally for so many things. And Megan's response is pretty direct. She suggests the way to kiss me both makes up for everything.
Whoa. Okay.
She offers to make that hot chocolate and reminds him of their old trick for his insomnia.
Yeah.
She used to rub his temples till he fell asleep.
Does he take her up on it?
He does. The sources show him lying down. She starts rubbing his temples. They reminisce more. Beau says she's still sure pretty. They get very close.
Do they? You know?
They decided just to have coffee in the end, but the implication is strong. The old feelings are resurfacing. The connection is definitely reignited. The scene ends with that possibility hanging in the air.
Okay. So, almost wrapped up for the day.
One final quick scene, time back to Pete and Ida. It's super late now, like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Jennings, PJ, calls Chris Kosachek.
Why is he calling Chris?
Just to let him know he's at Ivy's place and won't be home tonight. Says Ivy needs some looking after.
Ah, okay. So confirming he stayed to comfort her.
Exactly. Chris just says, okay, see you in the morning. It reinforces that Pete and Ivy have this strong, supportive bond, especially after they both lost Melissa that day.
Man, okay. Let's pull back for a second. That was one day, January 30th, 1985. The amount of stuff that happened.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? Just how much drama, how many character interactions and plot twists can be crammed into a single episode.
It really shows you the density of soap opera storytelling. We saw crime and fugitives with Melissa, career ambition with Hope at the police academy.
Multiple really tangled relationships. Bo, Hope, Larry, Megan were all interacting. Kimberly caught between Don, Shane, and this mysterious Bronski guy. Gwen dealing with Larry. Pete and Melissa's painful farewell. Pete and Ivy finding solace.
Plus family secrets and danger hinted at with Bo, Kimberly, and Roman. And these moments of genuine friendship like Chris with Gwen or Chris with Pete or Pete and Ivy.
So I guess what this deep dive into just one day shows us is, well, how everything is connected in a town like Salem.
Absolutely. Past actions like Pete shooting Melissa's father or Bo and Megan's history, they constantly bubble up and affect the present. Characters are always juggling their desires, their secrets, their loyalties.
Trying to make choices,
Exactly.
often really difficult ones, while navigating this constant stream of chaos and connection. It's lives lived at high intensity.
Yeah, perpetually in motion, but always shaped by what came before. It's a really vivid snapshot of that dynamic.
So based on everything we've just unpacked from this single day, all the drama surrounding Melissa Anderson,
Yeah.
here's something to chew on. Given her desperate situation, her fugitive status, the leverage she used on Pete, her dream of being a dancer in New York, do you actually think she makes it? Does she get away and achieve that dream? Or is Salem and her past inevitably going to catch up with her?
That's a wrap for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like and comment for more episodes like this. Thanks for listening.